Okay, Ethan, if you'll be the draft captain, since I'll just be talking and all that, we're going to be drafting Ixalan, Hour, and Amonkhet today, and you should be able to see what I'm going to draft, and I'll talk about why I'm going to draft it and all that, so that you guys kind of get a little bit of insight into drafting. So, Ethan, you just give commands, and other than that, we'll go. So. This is Friday Night Magic at Mind Sculpt, and we will be getting all sorts of things. So normally, guys, you can see we have, I'm going to move this down a little bit for you if I can. Okay, so yeah, we pull out our token, and then I immediately start rifling through this to see how many cards. Sorry, I lost you there somewhere. If I'm drafting for value, I'm going to definitely take the rare. But you'll notice that there's one color in particular there's a ton of, so I'm going to let the people to my left pick that.
The prices are on the box. There are actually prices that are different. Right, put the price.
And you'll notice I did take the rare that is in a color that is also plentiful, but that's okay. It's a good enough card that I would do that. So has everybody's got it? Right?
Go ahead and grab the next bag.
All right.
Either where's the collection at?
I put it back there, I think. Okay, so then I'm going to look in the color that I already picked and think about the commons and uncommons. Maybe see if the rare is still there. Okay, so there's another rare. It's actually not bad and limited, but this is real strong. And you can see I'm probably going to stick in the one color that I picked. So because this is a weird draft of three different types, three different sets, I'm not necessarily going to be able to do that one's full ability, I don't think. So actually I might actually pick differently than that because of that. So I do like the opportunities I will have in multiple sets here with this. So I got to remember that I need creatures, though. I did not draft a creature with the first one, and if I don't draft a creature, I might be in trouble. So I'll go ahead and take this guy, I think. Thinking about last pack, there was only 2 good cards in that color last pack, so likely Gabe and Aaron there, which are across from us, aren't necessarily going to go into that color. So, and that's right. The big thing about draft is you're thinking about building a 40 card deck, and you're also thinking about, oh my, okay, you're also thinking about how you can make sure that you have enough creatures, make sure you have enough removal or interaction spells, and so. This is telling me my ride is definitely not in these colors right here. Because that's still there. That's there. And if I hadn't stayed out of that color to push it to the guys to my left, I would definitely take it. But this card's a super good card. It's a bomb, even though it's an uncommon. So I'm going to take that and might ignore my pick that I just took. But it's also a signal when somebody doesn't pick that. So that's just a strong card. When you're in a draft where it's multiple packs of different, packs of different sets, it's also good to just go with strong cards. Synergy's not going to be as strong, so you do want to think about it that way. So if you remember what I picked the last couple picks already, I've picked now 3 different colors, and here I'm going to have to start choosing what's going to go on. Because otherwise I could be... Sorry if I keep cutting out. I don't notice it all the time, but I'm not sure where it was. But I'll show you my picks so far. You'll notice I am in 3 colors. But 2 of those help me make certain colors too. So We've got this card. Normally, early in the draft, I would go, okay, right about now, I'd say, yes, I want that. And then I'd try and pick every one of them I saw if I was just doing Ixalan. But it's not very strong unless you have it in multiples because it goes and gets it. So I probably won't there. Synergy is really important in draft. So being able to think about what goes together and how it's going to help you is really important. So this card helps me in the long game. It also lets you read it a little bit. It also is going to help my other stuff. My only other thought is probably that card, but as I said, I'm in 3 colors, and I don't know that I want to be. So there's only one card in that color that I've been in so far. Alright, this guy's pretty good cost-wise. You can see the mana costs and the power and toughness costs, and then he has multiple abilities there, which always adds to it. Again, we see lots of stuff there. And again, this guy's cropping up. If I would have took the last one, I'd probably take that one. But I'm leaning towards the other 2 colors in my deck. So this is my pick.
Daniel, are you gonna pause any point?
The big old box. Your camera.
Okay, so as you can see here, sorry I'm inexperienced at this, I have 4-stay color, so that's good. And this is probably what I want, because I'm low on creatures right now. In a draft, you kind of want to have roughly 11 to 15, 18 being like the max in a creature-heavy deck. This is a good card, draft-wise, especially if you've got the ability to make tokens. It is in my colors. This is a strong card. You can see this ability here. That ability is not a small thing. It can give you some card advantage. They're both in the colors. So I always put a premium on this ability. It makes it a lot easier to win games, close games out, so that's probably my pick. You can see there's still, this color is still running around, and somebody's going to have a really good deck by the end of the night with that, but it's not going to be me. So you see what colors I'm in yet?
I could try.
So these guys over here, I told them ahead of time I'd be explaining things that, you know, they shouldn't look, but, you know, it'll be all right. I'm doing this for teaching. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I know.
It's a bit too dark.
Yeah. So, do you know which 3 colors I'm in yet?
Is that one of the blue or black?
Gabe, we're waiting on you, I think, still.
I know it's one of the colors, and you're still waiting on me, too.
Yeah, that's okay, though. And so draft, just so you guys know, we do this every Friday night. Some of these guys that are here are regularly here, and others are, you know, work on Fridays or busy on Fridays. Every once in a while they're here. But it's a lot of fun. Being able to draft is, in my opinion, the best way to play Magic. It doesn't take a lot of monetary commitment. It's just $15 a night. As you get into the later part of the packs, you got to think about, all right, what's most important? This is really not bad. This is a really strong card in that type of deck, the pirate deck, and people have been lowering it down. But this card's probably the one I would think of as probably the strongest in the group. But I'll probably take this just in case I want more effects like this. So other cards. So this card in an aggressive deck would be really pretty strong. If I was in that black-white vampires deck and I had 3 packs of Ixalan, I would have picked that really high, but because I don't, I'm not going to pick it. And same thing here, this would be really strong, 3 packs of Ixalan, or even with Rivals of Ixalan, which is coming out soon. But I think I'm going to go with this one because it's just objectively an okay card. It might not end up in my deck. So, alright, so if I was in that black-white really fast deck, then I'd have a really strong start. I am going to take this. He's got 3 power for 2 mana, and he will likely make it in the deck. So that's pretty good to get a deck playable card with a couple packs or a couple picks left, fourth pick from the end, and then I get rewarded, and he's there again. So somebody else is probably gonna think I've got a bad set, but you'll see this card kept coming around. There's a lot of people think that 8 mana is just too much. But if you got mana ramp, man, those are going to be hard to deal with, and they can win you the game. But you got to have the mana ramp, otherwise it sits in your hand and you lose. To me, 8 mana cards really need to win you the game. Okay, so this guy's good. He's a little higher than that blue one that we got, but I like the fact that he came around. And then you almost always get a basic land at the end. Anybody that's drafting, just so you know, first time you ever draft, there's some people that make the mistake of, I draft to draft the basic lands. No, actually, we have the basic land station where you get basic lands to build your deck with. So we'll just run through these real quick in the order that I picked them. Again, I might not be in 3 colors. I might only be in 2. You can see that I have a lot in the 2 colors. But then towards the end, I got in that 3rd color again. So we'll just have to see what ends up happening. This guy's ability, it's not going to end up happening for us, but that's okay. So we're doing Hour of Devastation next, and you can see in the couple guys across through there, they're counting how many creatures they have, and you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 if I'm in 3 colors. But if I think about just my 2 that I've really been wanting, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've only got 5 in that. So that's okay. If you think about 3 packs, you get 5 in each pack that you know you're going to play. Then you're going to get to 15 creatures, and that's a good. 7 to 18 really is the range for creatures. The big thing too is that you want spells that interact. Okay, so spells that do things for you and do things to other people's creatures.
Go ahead and crack your hour pack.
Alright, so again, token goes. Token. This is our Devastation set. It's been out for 6 months almost. There's a couple extra keyword abilities. Keyword abilities usually tell you what they about this creature type, and there's other colors that care about creature types a little bit. But remember what 3 colors we're in, so that one's not even an option, even though it's a real strong card. Okay, and this is an option though. There's the rare. I probably would take that normally for value, but I'm gonna go ahead and draft just good cards. So for the draft, that is probably one of the better cards in these colors. And remember, I'm passing to the right now, so if I don't want to be in 3 colors, I need to think about what I want them in. And this card definitely tells them to stay out of that color.
Definitely remember to cover archetype before.
We're going to the right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that your picks or?
That's my picks.
Okay. Okay.
Alright, go ahead.
He's asking these are $29.99 MSRP. No, just make it accurate.
Okay. So just let you go through here a little bit. This keyword ability is pretty strong, but that's not very good. You know, it could be a staller though. But I like this keyword ability a lot, and so those are mid-round picks. This is a super good card. If I was in this color, I'd pick it. That's kind of similar to the other one that's not very good. I really like this one in draft, especially if I'm going bigger, which I am so far. It gums up the ground. Don't like that so much. This guy's really good. Alright, so I lost power there for a little bit.
This
So
one's
picks
on-
I made
This one's on there.
in the pack so far. This was my first pick. Went back to that third color. Got another really solid pick. Flying that
I
gives
picked the
flying.
one that was there.
Got a desert. And
That's your pick?
got that guy gums it up on the ground. I said he was really good earlier. So
Your picks would be the largest stack.
Yeah, I know
Are we
that.
just behind by one, or?
I'm gonna try and figure this out with them. It seems like might be a accidental pick or something. So I'll be back. But those two aren't for one pack, for one pick. Okay. So sorry, we just had some people pick up a little earlier than everybody else, so we had half the table drafting and half the table not. So as you can see here, we got another one of those. This is probably a pretty good tempo card. I think I want to take that.
Okay.
Me and him actually went ahead.
That is probably too high a cost for what it does, but it could be real strong. There's another desert if I want another desert. Two of the sets like deserts. Deserts matter. There's another strong card. I don't know that I want to go that high in
But then
mana
there's
cost.
this one.
That one can be pretty strong,
So what?
but I would say it's between those
Okay.
two right now. And I
Yeah, that's
think
correct.
I'd go
Correct.
here.
You're on that one now. Once you pass that one, we're caught up.
I usually put a priority on creatures over temporary removal. Like an unsummon is a strong card, but it's not like it's a tempo card. You're giving up a card for making it where somebody can't attack or can't block, or maybe both. And it's pretty strong, but you're giving up a card for it, so it's really hard. When you're playing Magic, you got to think about. Do I get a card for this? If I don't, it's usually worse than cards that give you a card. So creatures make somebody use a card to get rid of them, and so I typically put a higher priority on creatures than I would on temporary removal, which is usually in blue.
You're getting ready to
So
pass, or you need to look. These are my cards. Okay. You should have one
These are my picks.
ready to go. So you
okay, so
Did we somehow miss
you can
that?
see we are pretty strongly in three colors now. I think that one of these three will come back around, and I'd be happy with that one or this one. And for mana cost, the power is strong. It's average. This one is just he's good by himself, and there will be other cards in the other
I'm not gonna
set,
have one this
other
round,
pack.
but then the next round.
So he's just strong enough to play.
All right, so straightening up the kinks.
I think we had
So
technical
he's finishing
difficulties
that, and
again.
then when he grabs
Okay.
that, everybody's gonna.
Okay.
Except for Gabe, because Gabe already won. Alright, so everybody grab yours. Okay.
I think I drafted a little early there,
Except
and
Gabe.
that's my fault.
We're
So
one ahead, it's no problem.
we're just getting a little bit of timing off is all. So that can happen, and most times we'll have the most experienced player at the table be the draft captain. So and Ethan's doing a good job for us. So
But then he doesn't have one.
okay, so I've had a lot of chances at this. I got at least one so far. I'm pretty sure that I might have two. This is probably a stronger card because it's lower on the curve and it kills anything on the ground. And because there's so many cards that do this with Eternalize and come back, he can remove those cards before they Eternalize. This guy is bomb, but he costs once he, so he might be a better pick. So I like this guy a lot, so I'm gonna go with that.
Alright.
What's that? When I'm talking?
No,
Oh, okay.
the picks.
Okay, so this is a removal spell. It is not a guaranteed removal spell, but because it does -1 counters, and it makes them lose life, it's pretty strong. Sorry, doesn't make them lose life. They can lose life, or they can sacrifice another non-land permanent. So, pretty strong. This gets better with that other card that I just drafted. This one's not bad. I do have blue and black spells. And he just slows the game down. These are in green, so I'm not going to really look at them. There's a desert. It's really between these two. I think I'd go with this one. Although I do have a lot of removal so far. Might be better to go with this one. We do have done some deserts. I'll do that. Now another thought with that was double color, and there's a lot of people that don't want to go into double of the same color. Especially, it's a lot easier to splash the single colored ones. So that spell might table. It probably won't, but it might table. So. Alright. This is pretty good with the deserts that we have. It's on curve. This is not on curve, but it has flicked. And it allows you to pump in, but it's pretty high cost to pump in. There's another desert. I could do that.
I feel like I'm being peak trapped.
So, that was the pick. Sorry, I did that pretty quick. I think creatures that are on curve are pretty highly popular, and something that has upside with deserts is really pretty good. So, go ahead, Zach.
Bad colors.
So this is in both colors. Strong removal, and then card draw. This is, you play this one from your hand, that one from your graveyard. That's a good removal spell, but I'd probably rather do this one because it has basically worth 2 cards. You see that card again, and that's good, but I think I need to go with this one because it gives me 2 cards instead of 1. So.
Go ahead.
Okay, so this one again, I figured he'd probably come back around. This is a tempo card. Oh, there we go. So cycling makes it to where I don't have to play this card late in the game. I could actually cycle. We'll take that happily later in the game. It's a great draw. So any of those that are great draws late in the game, but cycle for 2, just super strong. Two modes. Cards that have 2 modes are really strong. Okay, so that guy again, he's gonna be better when I get zombies, but you know he's fine as just that vanilla creature, and we'll put him in there. He might not make the deck. We'll see. So. All right, so you notice we do have a number of those, and somebody else doesn't. The people at this table must not like it, but I think that it's really pretty strong. So. And then of course I get a land, so who cares there? So you'll notice that in between these packs, I'm going to start sorting by mana cost. Okay, I do want to think about where my mana cost is. I did not do that before, so you'll see I'll put in 3 mana, 4 mana, 4 mana, 3 mana, 2 mana. This card probably won't make it in, so I'm just going to put it down on the table. This card could not make it in, but I'll keep it just in case. Same land. Put those in.
Daddy.
And then the lands I definitely am going to have in. And you can see I got a number of those carry-on squelchers. 2 colors, but it is very, very likely that I am in 3 colors now. And there's probably people at the table that are smiling. 3 colors can be a trap.
I believe I know how many
but I got a lot of slowdown things that make fast decks not as good against me. And I've got some things that'll help me get better mana. This guy probably won't make it, but I'll put him in anyways. And so then I want to count how many creatures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I got 20 creatures already. I'm going to have to cut some of those. So I really should focus in on really solid removal spells, interaction spells, and just kind of fill out the best part of the curve. But you notice I had a lot at the 2 and 3 and 4 mana. And it's not necessary to have a lot at 1 mana. And you don't have a little bit. I had like 3 cards that cost 5 mana. But the 3 and 4 mana cards are really where you play a lot of your cards in draft or sealed. And 2 mana is fine to have plenty of those. So this is a Amonkhet, and I'm going to work in just if it's not really good, I need to think about what's going to fill out my deck the best. We're going back to the left. So this guy, if I can get a good amount of tokens with Eternalize and stuff like that, they come back as tokens. He is super strong. He is probably my pick. Although this guy, if I was drafting for value, I'd be taking him. I am not going to play him. I know in the third pack I'm not going to play him, but he is super strong in draft, so somebody's really going to like it when they see that. This guy's also pretty strong in draft. Hexproof is amazing. So, I'm going to get... I could hate draft that card, but this card makes my deck better. So I am definitely going to grab that card. Somebody's going to be really excited to get that rare or mythic. So anyways. That guy is an automatic pick. You'll see he has Embalm, so he goes with that other card. He's a big fire. This is a good card though too. So there's gonna be a lot of good cards in the first couple of picks that you could get. That rare is just really strong. So this is a good trick. And tricks might be better for my deck than this guy, but he's just so strong because you can play him twice. I just think he has to be picked.
Hard to pick or bad?
Yeah, no, it was hard to pick.
Somebody else can have that card.
Everybody got some pretty decent cards.
Hey, quite uncommon.
Go ahead.
Alright. So you can see there's another Embalm guy. He's not really strong. This is somewhat good in Magic, especially limited. But if you don't find yourself leaving 3 mana up very often, it also is a catch-22 card in your hand. So I don't know if I'll pick it. I'm gonna look around. I like this pretty well. I like that really well when I have a lot of zombies. Currently, I have quite a few. This might be the pick because probably not taking this just because it's in my colors. It might come back around. I might get it. This one's probably best value. But thinking about my deck being in 3 colors, I definitely need to prioritize that. So that's going in my deck. So this guy's really strong. He's got power equal to his mana cost, and he has menace, which makes him hard to block. This guy isn't bad. He's definitely better than that dinosaur that's in white, because he has the same convert mana cost for power and flying. But he has cycling too, which allows you to cycle him early on if you need to. This guy could be really strong because of his exert ability. So it might be best to do that. This is pretty darn good though. This slows everybody down. So it's really a choice between not easy to block and recursion and defense. I'm probably gonna go in that one. So, that probably was not a wrong pick to that. At this point, you think about whether it's actually going to get in your deck or not, and that's important to think about because if it's not in your deck, then it's just wasting space. There's another removal spell. Pretty darn good removal spell because it sticks around even if it doesn't kill him. Somebody in red's gonna really like that. There's a blue card that can draw you cards. Pretty strong uncommon. So it's really between that one and this one. I don't really need that desert. I've got plenty of deserts now. I got 3, I think. This one probably is the right card for that. But it is double colors. I'm doubling the other 2 already. I'm doubling that one too. Might be better if I go with this. Especially like early defense so far has been not as big. This one is an early defense card too. Temporary answer though, it's not for sure going to happen. It's a really strong card there. this isn't bad. 2 life and being able to draw a card off of it with the cycle ability isn't bad. And then if you're really in a bind, you can gain 6 life. So it's really between removal and life gain / card draw. I'd say probably that the removal is better. Life gain usually isn't very strong. When it's attached to something that says you can draw a card with it, it's actually a lot better though. Life gain on creatures is really strong. Life gain just in a card, like you give up a card for it, not near as good. Okay, so all of the cartouches aren't bad. This one specifically gives first strike, which along with my little death touchers would be pretty darn good, so that's going to be what I pick.
A pretty fearsome deck.
Good, because I don't. I don't have one.
I just picked up, by the way, just so you know. Oh, so this one made it back around. So that was what I was hoping to pick, although I forgot about this card being in there. I think I just glanced over it. Because of Death Touch, he's really strong. He does have cycling too. Again, remember what the game plan is to fly over guys. So I actually think that that's a stronger card for what the game plan is. So. Ooh, that one came back around too. So I did pick 2 of the 3 right colors for sure coming from my right. There's really not like really bad cards. He's not bad. I don't have a ton of zombies. So all of these say aren't that, like the ones like this one aren't as good because I don't have a ton of zombies. But this one brings ones back, so I'm going to go with that. Recursion, cards that can bring other cards in. Anytime you play a card that gives you another card, you just made the life of your opponent more difficult. You made your life easier. So cards that say, I get an extra card are really good in any format. And the more cards they say that you get extra are even better. So you should think about that when you're drafting. Cards that can create card advantage for you by either taking away cards from your opponent or giving cards to you is really good.
We got behind again.
It's okay, good. Keep going. Ready, steady, go.
Okay,
alrighty.
Have 6 cards right now.
So this is one of those cards that gives you extra cards, but it loses you life too, so there's a cost to it. And you remember how I talked about this. If I was in a fast deck, I would really want this. My deck is not fast. My deck is intended to stall until my flyers win. So losing life to draw cards isn't really what I want to do. But Recursion is really good. Especially with those little 1/1 Death Touchers that cost 2. Those are great. So exerting him to be able to get those back would be great. Okay. So I'm not excited about any of these right now. This is actually not a bad card in an aggressive deck. And this isn't a bad card for somebody that's wanting to go long game. It will not end up in our deck. So I'm probably going to take one of these as a hate draft. You notice I haven't hate drafted at all, really. I'm being kind of nice. But I probably am going to take either this one because it'll do damage to me right away, or this one because it makes something big real quick, and that's probably what I'll go with. So I'm not taking it to make it to where my deck's better, but rather taking it to make it to where my opponent's decks aren't really strong. And later in the packs, if you see an extremely strong card in a color you're not going to play it, you probably still want to get rid of it. So all of these, none of these are really going to be strong for my opponent. They're not going to end up in my deck. This, I don't have enough cycling. I mean, maybe if I had enough cycling, it would go in my deck. But it's probably just a pick that's get it out of the pool. So. Okay, so last couple picks, none of these are probably going to end up in my deck. This is probably the most likely to be good in my sideboard. Something I didn't talk about was picking sideboard cards. I'm actually in white and black and blue, and because of that, there's a lot of cards that just are able to do things to other people's colors anyways. And so, I'm probably not going to play these, but they could end up coming out of my sideboard game 2 or 3 and going into the deck game 2 or 3. So make sure when you're playing green especially, you have to have cards that are coming out of your sideboard that deal with flyers. You have to have cards, hopefully, that make you have reach in some way, because green doesn't have flying. Flying is a really important ability, or something that makes you unblockable, makes it harder to block, something with trample, things like that. Green especially is weakened if it doesn't have a good sideboard. Red is weakened if it doesn't have a good sideboard. Black usually has a good removal that it doesn't need to sideboard as often. Blue oftentimes has tricks that it'll bring out of the sideboard. White has removal sometimes that'll end up in your sideboard, but usually it'll be main board. So I'm going to build a 40-card deck out of these cards, and I'm going to actually show you the end result probably. I won't walk you through the whole deck building process because that'll take me too much time, but I'm going to try and not have too much that costs 5, although I am going to have more than I would normally recommend, because I have purposefully built a deck that is going to hopefully be able to stick around long enough that those 5 mana and 6 mana creatures just take over the game. So. Alright,